Okay, so welcome to my YouTube channel. Fuck it, I just want to do some album reviews, talk about music. I don't have enough people to talk about music with. Figured I'd do it on here, out to nobody, because my opinions don't matter. So I thought I'd put them out in ones and zeros and see if you guys feel them. But we're doing a top 10 2019. We're about halfway through January. But I thought I would just compile kind of a list of my favorites because I think 2019 was an exceptional year for music. A lot of melting your face offness, lots of great surprises in pop music, as well as kind of experimental hip hop, and some that sort of defy genre a little bit, to be honest. So thought I'd jump into it. I do want to do some honorable mentions. To start off, I do want to talk about Juice WRLD's project, Death Race for Love. R.I.P. to him. He passed away a couple weeks ago. Very, very tragic the way he passed. But let's talk about his project, because I think anyone who passed would want to be remembered for their music. That's why they made it. This album is pretty good, all things considered. The reason it doesn't crack the top 10 is because at the end of the day, it is a little bit bloated. You know, I don't want to give more credit than is due just because someone passed away. But there is something to be said for the vibe that Juice WRLD puts off all over this project. He gets great features. Songs like Empty are really kind of heartbreaking and bitter. There's a lot of lyrics all over this project that are kind of foreshadowing and tragic, that are hard to listen to, but it's not too hard to listen to, considering how smooth and poppy and easily Juice WRLD sounds on these songs. Yeah, there's a lot of throwaways. There's a lot of songs I could do without that I'd probably skip over, but it's worth noting that this was a really young, talented dude who had a lot of shit to give, and it's just a shame that we won't get to hear anything. And I hope that the label that he's on doesn't put out a bunch of unfinished, half-assed work, and not half-assed because Juice WRLD half-assed it, but because they want to make money off of his music and put that out there just to scrape a couple more dollars off of his name, like they've done with X and like they've done with Lil Peep. It just kind of sucks when they do that. We've just been getting bogged down with a lot of bloated projects of half-assed material that is just pulled off the shelf, blew the dust off of it, and put it out to make money. But this one is going to be remembered, I think. Death Race for Love is going to be remembered as a pretty good project. The next one on the list doesn't really qualify for an album. That's why it's not really in the top 10. It is just an EP. It's like 5 or 6 songs. That'd be Nothing Nowhere with Bloodlust. This is a great EP from a dude who I've been listening to for a couple years now. Ever since he had that feature with Dashboard Confessional a long time ago, I was really interested in what he was doing, the kind of emo but genuine pop punk feel of everything. Very acoustic based, but he adds some trap elements, some good 808s and things like that that really make these emo songs bounce in a way that's very catchy while still being very sad. On this one, he does collaborate with Travis Barker, who this is definitely the best thing Travis Barker has worked on this year, unfortunately. I mean, he's a really talented dude, and he's a bit of a workhorse, but unfortunately, I think they had that workhorse do a lot of bullshit. Blink-182's new album sucked. That 93 Punks record with Vic Mensa was garbage. Man, Travis Barker is just too talented for what he's doing, but luckily he collabs with the right type of artist on Bloodlust, and Nothing Nowhere, who's on Fueled by Ramen, really comes through with super clean, polished production, obviously great percussion, great drumming all over this thing, and big, powerful hooks that are really good if you're just in the mood for some sullen melancholy, but you still want to cry in the trap kind of music. Shit. Number 10 on my top 10 list is going to be Carousel Kings with Plus Ultra. Very just kind of guilty pleasure pop punk, really great riffs, really great hooks. This is a very nondescript review, but It's great, man. It's great. If you like anything, if you like any sort of that Belmont, just that pop punk with a loud aggression, big soaring hooks, very of the time. Plus Ultra's great. I mean, songs like Code Breaker, Smile are just a perfect example. Just go play that one song right now and you'll know what I mean. If you like pop punk music, you're gonna like Plus Ultra. Carousel Kings have always been super consistent and super underrated in the scene. Although the whole scene is kind of underrated. Pop punk has been a little bit 6 feet under as far as the mainstream goes, even though it's not challenging music. It's the most simple kind of music. But Plus Ultras definitely should be on your list. Slowthai, Nothing Great About Britain is coming up at number 9. This is a great UK release. Slowthai is a punk. He's a badass. He doesn't give a fuck. He's just great, man. Songs like Inglorious with the Train Spotting references, a pretty killer Skepta feature. He just has this manic tone about him, and with his voice, he's so manic and so just off the wall with everything he does that it's really entertaining to listen to him crack wise and be a smartass, but at the same time, on songs like Gorgeous, being super nostalgic and recollecting his youth in Britain, and it's very, very nice to listen to. But then you have songs like Doorman, who, if you've ever been drunk at a bar and you're just angry for some reason, Doorman is going to get you. It's going to get you on your feet. You're going to want to beat the shit out of somebody in a safe environment, maybe like UFC or something. Slowthai is killer, man. I'm really excited to see what he does next. And Nothing Great About Britain is a perfect example of why you should be excited about some of these young dudes coming up. Slowthai is just a killer, man. I'm really excited to see what he does next. Coming up next needs to be Alex Cameron, Miami Memory. I mean, when Force Witness came out a couple years ago, that was my favorite album of the year. This one I don't think is as good as Force Witness. Force Witness was hilarious. Songs like Marlon Brando still to this day make me laugh. Not in a stupid sense. It's not The Lonely Island. It's not a parody. Alex Cameron just creates this character for himself that is so sardonic and sarcastic, and it's basically a perpetual midlife crisis. Songs like Divorce, with him saying, I got friends in Kansas City with a motherfucking futon couch, if that's how you want to play it, never cease to make me smile, while still just inhabiting this character that's down on his luck, maybe has had too much success. He's foggy with cigarette smoke and booze. He's always hungover. He's just a hilarious dude with a very heartfelt way that he sees the world, and the way he portrays it to the listener really creates this narrative for you that is nice and comforting to listen to. And number 7 is going to be Sam Fender with Hypersonic Missiles. I listened to Dead Boys, a single he put out couple years ago. Really liked Dead Boys. Really great song. And then I just forgot about him. He didn't put really anything out since. Then I saw on Spotify he had Hypersonic Missiles. This thing, right from the opening track, the self-titled song, is like a U2 1975, just great British rock, man. This is a great album, and he is a young, talented dude who knows his way around a hook, knows his way around good political lyrics, very politically tinged, more so than Slowthai, I would say, as far as the specific political details that Sam Fender gets into are a little bit beyond his years and kind of impressive. Man, songs like Dead Boys, if you haven't heard it yet, you got to check that out. That landed on this album. Play God, That Sound, and Will We Talk are also really good songs. Up next is no stranger to top 10 lists this year either. Caroline Polachek with Pang. This is a beautiful singer-songwriter album. Great production all over it. It's very cloudy, it's very hazy, but with Caroline's voice being so beautiful, it's just hypnotizing sometimes when you listen to this thing. It's easy to get lost in the track list. If it's the first time hearing it, you'll listen to the whole thing. You'll remember a catchy part, but not remember which song it was off of. It's just such a vast project. Really love that she went solo. I listened to Chairlift for a long time, and I really liked Chairlift, but her by herself, just honing her lyrical ability without any kind of collaboration with a specific band member, is really paying off for her. She has very romantic, very intimate songs, but they're not these big sweeping love songs like some songs will do, where they just say this statement that everyone can relate to. This is very personal. It's just, it's really good. I like this album a lot. Smoke a couple fat doinks. This shit will bounce for you. You're gonna dig it. Number 5 is the Menzingers with Hello Exile. Another good, not really pop punk band, but more of a punk band. This is definitely my favorite rock album of the year. You know, it's punk rock, but it's got that polish that you hear with kind of a major label. I can listen to this album front to back with no skips, and that's always the sign of a good album to me. It's really for people who enjoy kind of garage punk, but with a kind of a classy spirit to it. If you like things like Gaslight Anthem, Hot Water Music, good punk music. This is a very political album too, but about our country. Finally, we get an album talking about how fucked up things are. Songs like America, You're Freaking Me Out are both hilarious as well as just really real, man. It's really brutal how true it is. I mean, if Alex Cameron's Miami Memory was a midlife crisis, then this is a perpetual millennial life crisis. I mean, this is talking about all of the panic that everyone my age and younger feels on a day-to-day basis, not knowing when we're going to World War III, what Donald Trump's going to do next. I mean, he says it perfectly on the song. He says, what kind of monsters did our parents vote for? And that's a wonderful lyric that just expresses the sentiment of it. But there's also really good romance songs, you know, love songs, things like Anna, talking about kind of a broken relationship, someone who's long distance. Are we together? Are we not together? I don't know what we're doing. Captures that feeling really well. I would definitely listen to America, You're Freaking Me Out, Anna, Strangers Forever, and London Drugs. Up next is Knocked Loose with A Different Shade of Blue. This is the heaviest album on the list. Brutal, it's loud, it's in your face. I can listen to this album front to back as well with 0 skips. I'll forget what song's which the first time I heard it. It's punishing, but if you have an ear and taste for this kind of music, this metalcore, great pummeling riffs, big hooks and choruses that you just want to scream, but you can't because you live in a 1-bedroom apartment. This is some of the catchiest stuff you're going to hear all year if you like metalcore music. Definitely listen to Mistakes Like Fractures, Guided by the Moon, and Still I Wander South, and By the Grave. Next, coming in at number 3 is Clipping with There Existed an Addiction to Blood. People are calling this a horrorcore album, but if your typical horrorcore album could be comparable to a horror film like Saw 5 or The Green Inferno, Addiction to Blood is more like Halloween or Rosemary's Baby or Hereditary. It's a polished, well thought out and exercise in horror, but this time in a audio landscape. Jonathan Snipes and William Hudson, I believe, who collaborate with Daveed Diggs in Clipping. They're both sound engineers. They've been working on movie scores the past couple of years, or at least one of them is, I think. That's really paying off here. I mean, they create these soundscapes that are terrifying. This album is best listened to with really good headphones. They really do a lot with the idea of horror in a soundscape. Daveed Diggs, who's no stranger to storytelling, that's what Clipping has been this entire time. That's why people like them, are these horribly detailed and specific lyrics and stories that he tells about a variety of different, really unique and original things. Here, Diggs is able to focus that talent on horror stories, and it pays off in spades. This thing is terrifying in a really good way. It gets under your skin like crazy, but unlike Splendor and Misery, which was one of my favorite albums the year it came out, that album was very conceptual front to back. Like, there was a narrative. It was hard to just pick and choose a song unless it was like Air 'Em Out or one of the singles. This one is more like an anthology. It's a lot of different stories that all, when you look at it from a bird's eye view, create this horror tale. It's like scary stories to tell in the dark. but from Daveed Diggs's perspective, and it's really great. Focusing an entire album around a horror narrative was probably the best decision they could have made, given what they've both been up to the past couple of years. Both meaning Daveed Diggs and his two producer counterparts. I would listen to Blood of the Fang, He Dead, The Show, and Attunement. It's challenging, but I think you'll find it really rewarding. Number 2 is going to be 100 gecs, coming with their album 1000 gecs. These guys came out of nowhere and really blew me away. I mean, Dylan Brady I've been listening to for a couple years, popping in and out of playlists. He's had good songs before, but this is something entirely unique. Him and Laura Les, they both share vocals with Dylan Brady, I believe, doing most of the production. When Money Machine dropped at the beginning of the year, well, not beginning, but a little... When Money Machine dropped, let's just say that, I lost all concept of time, because that song is 2.5 minutes of distorted industrial pop music, chipmunk vocals that are all over the album. It's terrific, man. It's crazy. I mean, 100 gecs is like, it's like a clusterfuck of rainbows and unicorns and distortion all blended up into some of the catchiest stuff I've heard in a couple years. I mean, it's loud, it's abrasive. It's not like Knocked Loose, though. Much more lighthearted and cheeky, I guess you could say. But you can't really hate it. It's hard to hate. You could not want to listen to it, but you can't deny its charm. Definitely listen to Money Machine, 745 Sticky, 800 Decibel Cloud, Ringtone, and Hand Crushed by a Mallet. I know Stupid Horse is a single. I still don't really like that too much, not my style. But the rest of the album in its short runtime leaves an impression that will be visible on your face the second you press play. And number 1, oh shit, 1 is surprised the hell out of me. Charli XCX with Charlie. This thing, man, I'm just gonna read what I wrote because I don't know how to. This is so much, I can't tell you. It's like 15 songs. There's not an ounce of fat on it. That's the best compliment I could give it. Charli is one of the most innovative and experimental artists in pop music today and any other day of the week. Not in the way 100 gecs is. Charli doesn't ask you to think too far outside the box to enjoy it. She doesn't want to test your patience with the experimentation that she's doing on here. She uses the technology of the modern age and partners with people from PC Music, who she did on the Vroom Vroom EP with Sophie, which I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but holy shit. Charli is really utilizing some of the most talented people in experimental pop music. The themes on songs like 2099 with Troye Sivan are kind of a sign that she's aware of what she's doing and what we're all so excited about. She looks to the future. She's in this cybernetic cocktail dress. That's how I picture her on songs like Thoughts or the opener. You know, it's just, she's so good at creating this swaggy vibe. I mean, there are love songs on here, heartbreak songs, but they're all done in such a classy way. But then you have songs like Click, which maybe be some of the coolest production on any pop song I've ever heard. The last 30 seconds of this song will show you exactly what I mean. It is electronic, dubstep. It's just bizarre. It's bizarre and it's dope for a girl who several years ago was just singing the hook on Fancy by Iggy Azalea. That's what I'm excited about, is how far she's come and what she's doing under the radar somehow. Like, she was a guest on Jimmy Fallon. She sat on the couch and talked about it and performed. But still, you talk to anyone who just likes pop music or listens to the radio, no one is going to tell you how much they love Charli XCX, and they should, because she's astounding. If I had to recommend songs, I'd say listen to the whole fucking thing. But if I had to pick, I'd say Gone with Christine and the Queens is great. Click is that banger. Thoughts, 2099, and Cross You Out with Sky Ferreira. All wonderful. That's my top 10 of 2019. If anyone does see this, I'd love some comments about which albums you liked, why didn't you like it, and why are you not good at listening to music. But yeah, so Jewel Gang, Gang Gang, 2019. My name's Jason. I didn't do much of an introduction. yeah, I'm gonna start making videos. I like talking about music. There's not enough people to talk to about it, so peace.